Hello, guys. Welcome to the Arsaholics. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Raj, Aaronin, how are we doing, boys?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good evening.
I'm all right. Thanks. Not too bad. So we're recording on a Tuesday, so kind of right in between the game we last played and the big game on Thursday. So why don't we talk about Newcastle first? So 2-0 win, a nice comfortable win, which we haven't had many of this season. I guess in the grand scheme of things, in terms of our league campaign, doesn't really mean much, but good to go into the Villarreal game with a win. In terms of sort of the goals, really, first half, Mohamed Elneny with a really nice finish, a nice goal. And in the second, Aubameyang with, again, a really, really good goal, well assisted by Martinelli. I mean, just in terms of the game in general, guys, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was very hard to tell how much it was a case of whether we played really well or they played really badly, because it felt like we had so much space. We were playing nice, pretty patterns. We were getting into the final third quite fast. We were completely dominating their fullbacks. So it was a bit difficult for me to figure that out because, having made 9 changes, I didn't expect such a cohesive performance. So try not to read too much into it. But at the end of the day, a win's a win, and we thoroughly deserved to win at least 2-0. So it was nice that, like how Aaron always wishes for, it was nice that we made the game very uncomplicated. Do you know what I mean? It was just a basic dominant victory. Done.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot to like, and actually I think we did play well. I think sometimes we're a bit too scared to give Arsenal credit where it's due, because we think, wins nowadays are just so rare.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the last league game we won. Was it Spurs?
Sheffield United, I think.
I don't remember the last. Oh yeah, of course, Sheffield United. But no, we played well. I think we built up play quite nicely. I think David Luiz coming back really does help our build-up play versus playing holding there. And of course, Newcastle weren't great, and they weren't helped by the fact that their star man Joe Willock was out.
We need to apologise for that, don't we? Because we thought he could play.
You thought.
No, I asked a question.
I think it was me. I asked the question. I'll take the blame. I'll take the hit.
I was going to collectively apologise, but all right, Aaron, you pointed the finger.
Lads, we should have just blamed Nero.
Oh yeah.
Why didn't we just blame him?
That's why I didn't join today.
Too
ashamed.
Sorry. Yeah, we apologise for what Nero said. I mean, good intentions. He just gets really confused sometimes. And he thought Willock could play, and they changed the rules. But yeah, I mean, we disagreed. But anyway,
yeah. We will endeavour to fact check our podcasts before publishing them in future. So I thought we played well, and let's just enjoy the win, because who knows when the next one's going to come.
And it was a bit of a throwback back line to a certain degree, because obviously, forget Xhaka playing at left back, but although we essentially had Gabriel, Luiz, and Bellerin coming in, that was very much the starting 3 at the beginning of the season in those positions, wasn't it? So it was quite fun in some ways to see that 3 come together again, and actually play quite well, although relatively untested. But I just just building back on what you said, Aaron, and about David Luiz. I think I forgot how good his passing range was, and I think not having it there and seeing him play against Newcastle, it really showed to me that we had missed that, particularly in the first opening exchanges. He was spraying the ball really well, to the left, to the right, etc. And it was his ball to Bellerin that Bellerin crossed for Elneny's goal. So it really did show David Luiz's strengths, and how unfortunate for him to get injured on his first game back, huh?
Exactly. Typical, isn't it?
Do you think, I completely agree with what you said about Luiz and that range of passing that he offers. Do you think it also helped the fact that Bellerin played? Obviously, we saw that for the goal, but Bellerin being a more traditional fullback, he tends to bomb up and down. He has got the engine for it. I know he's got his critics for sort of other things, but he does have the engine to get up and down the pitch, and he's obviously still got that pace. You'd probably say that we saw in his early Arsenal career. But yeah, do you think that contributed to it as well? I thought so. I just thought, it makes it a lot easier to find someone who's constantly happy to overlap or constantly happy to make a run, even though they might not receive the ball because they've, like I said, they've got the engine to do it.
Yeah, there seems to have been this weird narrative that's developed with Bellerin this season that all of a sudden he's become a massive liability for us, or that he's a terrible right back. Look, I don't think I don't want to say ever, but I don't think he's ever going to be like the ideal right back for us. But I don't see Chambers or Cedric really displaying qualities where they can show they are, considerably better than him. And I feel like he's probably been treated a bit harshly when it comes to some of these recent games because, I think Chambers has played well. I think when Cedric's done there, he's done okay. But, Bellerin's got the experience. He's been doing that role for a number of years for us. He understands the system. He understands his players. And I think he showed that he is, at least on par with all the other options there. And when we are experimenting all over the place currently, it just seems, I find it a bit strange why we don't go for the kind of safety of Bellerin.
I agree to some extent. I think that there is a narrative that seems to have been developed that he's a liability somehow. I completely don't agree with that. I think the challenge with him has just been he's been basically a 7 out of 10 player for quite a long time, and at one point he was an 8 pushing a 9 when he got in Premier League Team of the Season, and he was arguably the best right back in the Premier League, and that was many years ago now. And it's been sort of a decline, and then he's just sort of plateaued. And it's kind of like there's a bit of a Jacquiness about him in the sense that does he typify a level of mediocrity that we've kind of come to accept for a long period of time. I'm going to caveat that by saying that Jacques has been probably one of our best players this season, to be honest, in my opinion. But point being, I think with Bellerin, it's more of a case where, as a fan base, we've just become very uneasy, right, at the fact that we should perhaps be doing a little bit better. But I certainly agree with you, Aaron, and I think that none of our right backs, whether it be Chambers or Cedric, can stick their hand up and say we are fundamentally a better right back than he is. I think they have certain qualities that might be better, but they've got certain qualities that are worse. So,
Is he not? Do you guys not think he's potentially just not been in the team the last few weeks or couple of months because he's off in the summer? Which there's obviously a lot of talk about that, and big money coming in for him. Hence why maybe he's just not. There's Arteta maybe looking at it and thinking no point giving him the minutes really when he might the right back next season could be Chambers, it could be Suarez. It looks like Chambers is trying to giving Chambers a run in that position.
If that's his logic, I think it is quite weak logic to do that. If he actually thinks, I've got Hector Bellerin here who he thinks is better, but he's simply not playing him in our biggest game of the season because he thinks he's not going to be here for the long term, I think that's very flawed thinking. And I don't think so, unless, maybe he's trying to protect.
We kind of said this with Ceballos. Sorry, go on.
No, I think maybe he's trying to protect his value or something like that, because maybe a huge fee has been agreed for some reason. But I don't know. It just seems very like we this is our biggest game last week, and this week will be our biggest game. It has a potential to completely transform our season. If he genuinely thinks Hector Bellerin is better, but he's just not playing them because of whatever's happening in the summer. David Luiz might not be here in the summer. Ceballos might not be here in the summer. Half this squad might not be here in the summer, right? So it's just a bit of a strange reasoning to not play someone.
I think if we take the things that we do know about the situation, there's a few things we know. There's hypotheticals, there's things we know. We know that Arteta and Bellerin are very close. They've spoken in the past. Bellerin was taken under Arteta's wing when he joined the club as a young kid from Barcelona. He would eat lunch at his house and, with his family. We know that they're close. we know that at the beginning of the season, in the summer, it was clear that there was interest from PSG. I think they were quite open about that. They wanted him. We didn't want to sell him. So we know that we didn't want to sell him, and there was interest. We also know, if you recall, Arteta said that he felt Cedric had the best attacking potential out of our fullback options. That was kind of right when we signed Cedric. So that was, that was fairly, that was a little while ago now. So I guess where I'm going with this is, it feels like there probably wasn't really an issue. It felt like at the beginning of the season, Bellerin was part of our plans. But it felt like as time's gone on, I think Arteta has just thought, well, maybe I need a better fullback, and it's been an amicable thing. It feels like it's potentially just an amicable understanding where Bellerin said, do you know what? It's probably time for me to reignite my career elsewhere. And Arteta said, do you know what? That's cool. That works with me. I'm basing it just on those things that we know. But like you say, Mize, I mean, it could just be a case where he said he wants to leave. Arteta said, well, okay, fine. If you want to leave, then fine. I'm not going to play you. But I personally don't think that's what happened.
I think it's tactical. I think he sees something in Chambers that he doesn't see in perhaps a more traditional right back. And I include both Cedric and Bellerin in this. I think he probably likes the way that he maybe gives a bit more defensive structure and a bit more defensive solidity over Bellerin. And I think he's going for that. And plus Chambers has shown that actually when he does go forward, he's certainly got a good direct cross on him as well. And maybe he just thinks that's the better option.
Fair enough. Yeah, quite possibly. Be interesting to see what happens in the summer with him. I mean, yeah, just in terms of the goal, like we kind of started talking about it, didn't we? It was a really nice finish, wasn't it, from Elneny? And another kind of not a screamer necessarily, but he only seems to score very, very good goals. And it wasn't an easy finish. He controlled the volley, a spinning ball that was like I said, hard to hit, and he got a good connection onto it. And it was a really good finish.
And he just hits the target, doesn't he? Like, it feels like he just now.
I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say.
I don't even have to say it. Yeah, I mean, it just feels like it's just a stark contrast to another midfielder that we have. And I think he's just paying dividends for just focusing on hitting the bloody target. But yeah, like a really, really good goal. Really good. It was so nice to score early.
Yeah, it was like 6 minutes, wasn't it? It was nice.
Yeah. Elneny must be one of our highest scoring midfielders this season.
I think he is.
I think he is. Yeah, I saw a stat.
Like, I mean, I know. You probably don't consider. Has he scored more goals than Saka? I know Saka's not a midfielder, right? But
just from central midfielders.
But central midfield, he's definitely scored more than Xhaka, Ceballos, Partey.
Yeah,
anyone else?
Ceballos and Xhaka haven't scored. Sorry, Ceballos and Partey haven't scored, but Xhaka, I think, scored a free kick, right?
Chelsea,
yeah.
But yeah, that probably says more about the lack of goals from our central midfield than it does about Elneny's prowess, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe Willock will be the answer, eh?
Yeah. And then, well, I mean, into the second half, in terms of our goal, the second goal for Aubameyang, that was, again, it was a really, really nice goal, wasn't it? Especially the cross, the first time cross for Martinelli. It was like pinpoint. Well, I'd say it's pinpoint. Aubameyang had a lot to do. It was a difficult finish from him as well. But it was a really, really good cross from Martinelli, kind of goal that you sort of almost expect to see with those two on the pitch, if you know what I mean. But yeah, what were you guys' thoughts just generally on the second half of that goal?
Well, I thought we obviously deserved it. We probably should have scored before that. It was a shame that we allowed the game to be 1-0 for so long, I thought, because, we could always come back to regret that. But, the goal itself was an excellent goal. And Odegaard with the assist of the assist again, it was a very similar assist of an assist like he did when he sort of sparked that comeback against West Ham. Played it really nicely into Martinelli. And like you say, like Martinelli's weaker foot, but absolutely pinpoint. It was impossible to hit a better cross than what he did. And equally, that being said, the finish still took a lot of skill and guile. And it was interesting. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was doing the rounds on Twitter. it looks, the way that Aubameyang finished it looks identical to the way that Dennis Bergkamp finished a goal at the same end at St James's Park.
Really?
I think it's the goal which is it the goal which the statue was built from?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had that almost in the air, like outstretched leg. What's really funny is the defender alongside Aubameyang. There was a photo of it.
Yeah,
it's literally the exact same position, which I thought was quite funny. But no, on the goal, I thought what I really liked about it, it was a goal that I kind of felt like was an Aubameyang goal, in the way that, if you give him that service that has been lacking for so long this season, he is going to get in the box. He is able to get on the end of those crosses, and I think it could be so important for a Thursday, because I kind of feel like if we're going to do well, we need to score goals, and if we're going to go score goals, it has to be Aubameyang that scores them.
Yeah. I mean, I think that leads.
And I think.
Go on, Raj. Sorry.
Go on, mate. I think I was going in the same direction as you were.
I was gonna just move on to Villarreal. I guess that's the focus of the discussion today. But yeah, I mean, you guys mentioned it, David Luiz injury as well, which is really frustrating because he's just come back, obviously. I don't think they've said anything about the injury yet in terms of the club. Have they said anything? Yeah, it obviously didn't look very good.
I read that there might be a chance he could be fit for the last couple of games of the season. So, but
right. Yeah,
I think he's certainly out for Thursday.
Yeah, it must be. Which is frustrating. And there was the red card at the end as well. I hate seeing this stuff because it's like every time Martinelli gets tackled, I have a bit of a heart attack, to be honest, considering what he's gone through over the last kind of year or so. And it was a really bad tackle, really, really bad tackle, and just unnecessary as like the 89th, 90th minute as well. I don't think there was much else from the game in terms of talking points, was there? I don't think no. Yeah.
I don't think so, mate. I think obviously it was a bit disappointing that there wasn't any proper analysis on Sky after the game because of all the things that happened at Old Trafford, but in some respects understandable. But I think on that challenge, I think you said the word unnecessary. Again, I think it's one of those things that was just really unnecessary. It probably looked worse than it was, but was just totally unnecessary. And I think Graham Souness, some of the other pundits thought that it probably shouldn't have been a red card. I think Steve Bruce said, and he thought it shouldn't have been a red card. But we've seen stuff that would always it was insignificant in the end. So
yeah, absolutely. Okay. I mean, it leads us nicely onto the game that really matters, I guess, for us for our season. Villarreal on Thursday, a couple of days away. So obviously we're 2-1 down from the first leg. I mean, just in terms of team selection for Arteta, he has a few decisions to make. There's players coming back. Luiz is now out again, but there are players coming back. There was a photo, I think Aaron and you sent it, didn't you, of Tierney and Laka training today with a kind of cheeky little caption from the Arsenal social media team. Was it the eyes? Was it the emoji eyes?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and I think Charles Watts confirmed that they did take part in full training.
Oh, okay.
With the rest of the squad. So
good.
They're around. Whether they're fit or not, fit enough to play, who knows? But I think certainly around. I
would assume if Laka's fit, he starts on the bench. I don't see, Aubameyang obviously played majority of the game. I don't know if he played the whole game. No, he came off, didn't he? Played the majority of the game the other day. So you'd expect him to start through the middle. You'd hope so after what happened in the first leg. So Aubameyang through the middle, and with no Ceballos, obviously he's suspended. What do you think? I mean, just generally in terms of the team, how do you guys think it's going to set up? Because obviously Matt Ryan started the Newcastle game. Was Leno being rested, or was potentially was Matt Ryan being tested? To see how he does. Or don't think he had much to do. Do you think Leno's coming back in? There's loads of decisions Arteta's got to make, really.
I think I just hope he doesn't try and be too clever. I think just what we need to do. It's a bit like the quarterfinal second leg where it's clear we need to go out and score at least. Well, you could say we only need to score one, but I think we're all kind of resigned to the fact that we'll probably need to.
Yeah.
Let's just go and play to our strengths. We are a better team than them on paper, at least. We have better players individually, certainly. So let's make that count. I think in the last game, we gave them a bit of an equalizer. We had a few players out, but we also did something that's completely new. And, whilst I didn't have too many issues with Arteta trying something that he genuinely believes was right in the first leg, he obviously had this hypothesis that, playing without a striker was a good thing. When it wasn't working, he should have ditched it very quickly. I don't think he did it quickly enough. Some of these decisions should make the way we play easy enough. If Auba's fit, play him. If Leno's fit, I think you should play Leno. I think actually you're right. There's going to be a few decision choices, right? Like the selection choices. Who do you play at right back? He's a bit lucky that Luiz is actually injured. It kind of makes the centre back decision a bit easier. And then the huge thing is left back, right? If Tierney's fit, I mean, it's going to be a huge boost for us because it just unlocks so many other benefits.
I mean, if Tierney starts, it's obviously a massive gamble as well. I mean, he's basically saying if Tierney's kind of 80% fit and he starts, he's taking that gamble on the basis that obviously this game defines what happens this season pretty much. It is almost worth taking that gamble because if we don't go out, if we go out and he doesn't play and he doesn't risk him, season's over anyway. So we've got a few weeks to the final if we get there for him to almost basically not play again or play the right amount of minutes. So do you guys think Marie or Gabriel, assuming Holding plays the right side of defense, right side of centre backs?
It's tough, mate. I mean, I think that my gut feeling says Gabriel. That's because he's just played. We've just kept a clean sheet. That's just based on that. But Murray and Holding have been playing together for a while now, and so just in terms of that familiarity, like I think in some ways that's probably a decision that whichever one he makes, I don't think the fans are going to really criticize either. It's much for muchness, pros and cons, whatever. It's the decisions that you've talked about in the other areas of defense. Actually, like Tierney, I agree with you. He's got to play if he 80% fit, whatever he's got to play, worth the risk. Right back will be super interesting, man. It'll be super interesting because again, does he go and say, well, Hector played quite well, he got an assist, why not? Sure, I can see an argument for that as well. I think we almost lucky that we don't have the Ceballos kind of question mark. We know he can't play, and so really that's out of the equation. So whether Elneny at least is playing with a little bit of form, so I presume if Tierney does play, then Xhaka will partner Partey in the middle. But if Xhaka has to play left back, then it'll be Elneny and Partey. And I think that's okay. Just very quickly, if you look at Villarreal's team, they've got a couple of injuries now, and they're missing Capoue. And as a result of missing Capoue, it looks like Coquelin's going to play and we'll be up against Coquelin in the central midfield very likely. And so you've got to think, right, that it doesn't matter who we partner in the middle. They've got to be better than that because otherwise, what does that say for how far we've come? We got rid of Coquelin a while ago to improve, and whoever plays. I guess my point is you've got to take on that. And I think what'll be interesting, guys, actually, is what I read is that Foyth has picked up an injury.
Oh,
and he was very good against us.
Yeah.
And he might, it's 50-50 at the moment, but he may not play. So that'll make it interesting.
It's going to be quite interesting how Emery approaches the game as well, because I can see him trying to sit on the lead that he's got. I'm not saying that he thinks he's going to contain us and we're not going to score at all, but I think I can see him coming into it quite defensively, trying to limit us to the number of goals we score, and hopefully then they nick an away goal on nick an away goal basically. However they do that. He doesn't strike me, well, based on what he did with us, he doesn't strike me as the kind of manager who's going to come to the Emirates and kind of go for it. and be on the front foot in terms of them trying to get the away goal. I can see him quite happy to just try and manage the game, keep it tight, keep it 0-0 as long as possible.
Yeah, I also thought this, but then I realized that actually this is a guy who more than anyone knows how to manage a two-legged European tie. Right, he did it with us. He got us to the final. And I think people do say, oh, there's a risk he could be too cautious, but I think if he is cautious, he's going to be cautious for a reason. And you can say actually he's probably right, because he knows that if we're a team that's struggled to create chances, if he makes it easy for us to create chances, then we'll score. But if he does sit back, we've shown that we can struggle against these tightly packed defenses. So I don't see that as a risk. I think the first leg was a classic Emery where he should have killed us off. This game, we should have had no chance. This should have been the most depressing podcast we've done, because the game should be 4 or 5-0.
True.
But it wasn't, and that was because of Emery. But I wouldn't underestimate him in the second leg, because he's shown he could get it. But just going back to team selection, I think the interesting one is, if Aubameyang is fit, who do you play in the three behind him? Like, I assume we all agree that Saka plays. Then you've got a choice between Smith Rowe, Odegaard, and Pepe.
And Martinelli.
And Martinelli, of course.
Don't think, yeah.
So it would suggest by what Arteta did on the weekend, by very clearly resting ESR, Saka, and Pepe, it would feel like that's the three that he wants to go into Thursday with. But I really don't know what the right answer is, because there's an argument to say, well, could he play Saka at left back and and try that, and then he has different options. And I think Martinelli put in a man of the match performance. Does he deserve to start? Like, if I'm a betting man, I think what Arteta's going to do is play ESR, Saka, and Odegaard behind the three. Sorry, Pepe, Saka, and ESR, because he rested those three. That's what I think he'll do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, I don't really see why he would have rested.
I think he'll play Odegaard.
I do too.
Saka and ESR. Is my guess.
I agree
two
with
reasons.
that.
I think he'll drop Pepe. Whether or not he should, I don't know. I mean, like, flip a coin. There are pros and cons to all of those people in different lineups, but I think the reason Odegaard played is because he's trying to come back into fitness. I think in the first leg he clearly wasn't super sharp and he needed him to play, whereas Pepe, Saka, Smith Rowe have all kind of shown that they need resting, whereas Odegaard has had a period out of the game and needs to find that fitness. I think I'm still not sure he fully trusts Pepe.
Well, mate, I mean, if it was me, I agree with the point. I think Odegaard should play, because I think that he gives us something that in that 10 role that I don't think any other players do, to be honest. And I think he's a very good player. I really don't think he can drop Pepe. Whatever our personal preferences are on, I personally think, there might have better players in the team. Maybe Martinelli and maybe Saka, I don't know, are players that I prefer in some ways. But Pepe is our form player. Like, he is our form player in terms of goals and assists. He's the reason, he scored the first goal in the Olympiacos away, not Olympiacos, who do we play? Zagreb? Prague, sorry.
Yeah.
He scored the goal at home against Prague. He scored the first goal, in the away leg. He scored the penalty. And even in the away leg against Villarreal, he was excellent, I thought, on that left-hand side. I really don't think he can drop him, and I don't think he will, to be honest. Like, I really do think he'll play. It's going to be tough.
I don't think Martinelli's going to unfortunately start. No, I say unfortunately. Obviously, we all want him to play. I just don't think. I don't think he's going to play. But I think it's just decision between the other four. I kind of agree with you, Raj, that Pepe deserves to start. 100%, he deserves to start. He's our in form kind of attacking player. I think I have a feel. I don't know. I feel like he might, now that Erdegaard's back, he might drop ESR.
Yeah.
I think that he might do that. I don't think ESR's been playing that great recently, to be honest. Like he's been okay, but I don't think he's been like performing at the level of the others. So I have a feeling he might drop ESR to accommodate. I say accommodate, but yeah, accommodate Pepe.
Intriguing.
Will be interesting.
It's nice to have a positive, selection dilemma there, where it's actually 2 or 3 decent options. I think if Pepe plays, I won't be annoyed. If Smith Rowe plays, I wouldn't be annoyed. If Martinelli plays, I wouldn't be annoyed. So
it might depend on the decision he has. What happens at left back as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I guess he's got, like we said at the start, he's got a lot to think about, a lot to decide on.
There's a lot of arguments based on that, Mize, of starting Martinelli, because if you recall, before Martinelli got his big injury and Tierney was just working his way into the team, Tierney and Martinelli used to combine really well down that side. Like they were really effective, developed a really good understanding very quickly. And I wonder whether that might play a factor. The other thing with Gabby, not obviously only coming off a good result, a good performance the other day, but he has such a high tempo. And I think that if we do play with a high tempo, we'll probably beat Villarreal. Like we need that. And especially, with Aubameyang playing up front and actually playing a striker. I think if we start at a very high tempo and keep that, I think that's our best chance of winning. So I think maybe there is an argument if Tierney plays that you do play Martinelli. But then again, as I said, then you still a dilemma, isn't it? What do you do with Saka? What do you do with Pepe? What do you do with ESR? Blah blah blah. So yeah, who knows?
Who knows? Loads. Yeah. It will be very interesting.
The one thing that we all agree on, right, is that he has to play a centre forward.
Oh yeah. Well, now Aubameyang's fit. That position picks itself, surely.
Can you just imagine if he didn't do that? Like the right, and we lost.
Yeah. Like it would be inexplicable, wouldn't it? Yeah. He wouldn't be. Yeah. The Arteta out brigade, if we're calling it that, would be pretty loud if that happens. Yeah. There's just one thing about what you said earlier, Aaron, and I know that Emery's got an amazing Europa League knockout record. It's like 21 ties, apparently, two-legged ties. But when you said that, he knows how to manage a second leg, I think you said something like that. I just thought back to the PSG. Do you remember the PSG Barca tie when he was manager at PSG?
Yeah. Except that one.
Except that one, yeah. But yeah. All right, guys. I mean, how do you guys feel going into this game? Just in terms of our chances and do you guys have a good feeling about it or dreading it?
I think we'll go through.
You think we'll go through, Roger?
Yeah, mate, I think that goal, getting that away goal, was so big for so many reasons. One, it just obviously completely keeps us in the game. But two, mentally, it's massive because I think Villarreal at 2-0 would have finished the game going, we should have won by more, but still 2-0, wicked, well done, guys. I think 2-1, it makes the world of difference. And I think our boys will sort of feel like that happened for a reason and we're in it and we can really do this. And I really hope, it's like what Saka said at the end of the game. It's what one of you guys was saying earlier, like we are better than they are. We need to play like we are better than they are. We need to, and I really hope that comes through and that permeates. And as a result, I think overall it will. Maybe I'm being optimistic, but I'm actually going to go for Arsenal winning 3-1 in 90 minutes.
Good. Aaron?
Can I say the same? I was going to say 3-1 as well. Is that like... I'm not... Okay, fine, I'll change my prediction.
Don't change it.
All right, I was going to say 3-1.
3-1.
Okay, I'll tell you what, spin it a different way, though. Even if you think 3-1, how do you think the game will pan out in that 3-1?
What, is this for bonus points or something?
Well, because there's different contexts.
Yeah.
Like, I personally think... I'll let you go first because, I don't want to...
Yeah, I think we will... I don't know. I think we will probably score 2. They'll get 1 back and then we'll score a 3rd.
Okay, so I think we'll go 3-0 up and then they'll score 1.
That would be nice and... Well, I said nice and easy, but that would be... No, but yeah, because actually then...
I know.
If it's 3-2, then we go out, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to be this really weird, like, oh my God, and we're all going to be shitting ourselves for like 10 minutes because that's a completely Arsenal thing to happen.
Yeah, either way, there's no way we don't come out of this without any. It's going to be a very, very nervy evening, right? But I think the worst would be sitting on that 1-0 lead. No, I also think 3-1. I agree with you. I think the pressure is on them now because they'll feel like they've messed this up a bit and they can't mess it up further. So let's see. I have to be optimistic because the alternative doesn't bear thinking about.
I'm tempted to say I want to see. Obviously, I can't because we're 2 days away from the game. I want to see what the lineup's going to be, which obviously I know we would all love to do that and then put our predictions in. But I just think Tierney could be a massive factor if he plays. If he doesn't play Aubameyang through the middle and for whatever reason doesn't start him and try something else, that's going to be a massive factor. So I think it's going to come down massively to how he sets the team out. I would say I'm kind of. I feel like we will go through, but I'm not that confident of saying that, if that makes sense. Like, I think we will, but I've got no basis for that because we're just, I genuinely feel like it could be a game, like you said, Raj, we turn up 3-0, pretty much put the game to, you don't put the tie to bed when there's away goals involved, but pretty much put the tie to bed, or it could be a very, very nervy 1-0 win. And I'm kind of in between the two. I'll go 1-0. I'll go 1-0 and we sneak through and away goals.
Dreading it already.
Talking about it is
it's terrifying.
Pooing your pants kind of situation.
Aubameyang will be key. If Aubameyang plays well, then we go through.
I mean, Aubameyang playing well means he gets 3 chances. He takes 2 of those chances, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And I mean, he missed the one in the first leg. I know he just come on as a sub. It was a decent chance, but I think if Aubameyang's getting 3 good chances, that means you like to think that means that we're dominating the game and we're getting in behind or we're able to create those chances. So then I think it's the kind of game that he will take one of them at least, if not a couple. There's just so many ifs and so many permutations in there.
The more and more we just talked about this now, the more and more I genuinely think a very good combination for Thursday could be Odegaard, Pepe, Saka, and Auba, because just when you put it all into account, Saka was so riled up, right? He was so like, and he was the one who won the penalty and all the rest of it. I think he'll be there going, right, we've got to bloody do this. Pepe, because he's a confidence player and he's just that, because he's skillful and he's quite direct, and now he's playing with confidence. Odegaard, because he gives us that ability to actually pick those passes and Auba, because obviously we need a striker and he's our number one striker. I feel in my mind that should work. We just got to do it. We've just got to do it. Otherwise, what the bloody hell are we going to do for the rest of the season? It's going to be so boring.
Yeah, like you said, Aaron, it doesn't bear thinking about, does it, if we do go out? But all right, guys. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. Absolutely massive game on Thursday. So we'll catch everyone after the Villarreal game. And until then, guys, thanks again, as always, for tuning in. We appreciate the support, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.
Bye.